What began as a small, obscure free-to-play game in 2013 has grown into one of the most innovative, ever-evolving experiences in the gaming world. Warframe, developed by Digital Extremes, defied the odds. It transformed from a niche third-person shooter into a living sci-fi universe with sprawling open worlds, cinematic storytelling, and one of the most loyal communities in gaming. But how did it get here? What makes Warframe's evolution so unique? And why does it still matter today? This is the story of Warframe, from its humble origins to the massive open-world experience it is today. Origins, a bold gamble. When Warframe launched in March 2013, it wasn't met with critical acclaim. In fact, it was overlooked by most of the gaming press. Developed by Canadian studio Digital Extremes, best known for working on Unreal and BioShock 2, Warframe was their last-ditch attempt to stay independent. It was originally based on a rejected concept called Dark Sector, a sci-fi shooter that publishers passed on in favor of more safe titles. But rather than let it die, Digital Extremes revived the idea, turned it into a free-to-play game, and launched it on PC with a small team and almost no marketing. And then, something unexpected happened. Gameplay of early Warframe. Players started to flock to Warframe. Word spread fast. The idea of playing as space ninjas with procedurally generated missions and loot-driven progression struck a chord. While it wasn't perfect, the fast-paced movement, co-op gameplay, and unique sci-fi style gave it a charm that players couldn't ignore. Building the foundation. The first couple of years after launch were about survival and iteration. Digital Extremes adopted a transparent development model, engaging with the community directly through weekly developer streams and constant patch notes. This transparency became a pillar of the Warframe experience. Players were part of the development cycle. Feedback led to major system overhauls, like reworking mods, weapons, and Warframes themselves. By late 2014, the game had grown far beyond its launch. More frames, more missions, more planets. The addition of Void Relics, Prime Warframes, and Syndicates gave veteran players long-term goals. But the biggest leap was yet to come. The Second Dream. In December 2015, Warframe changed forever with the release of The Second Dream. This was more than just a quest. It was Warframe's first true cinematic story, and it introduced a plot twist that would redefine the entire universe. Spoiler alert screen, then footage of the operator reveal. For years, players thought they were the Warframes, these powerful biomechanical suits. But the Second Dream revealed the truth. The Warframes are controlled by children, known as the Operators, hidden away in the mysterious Orbiter. This revelation added depth and soul to the game. Warframe was no longer just about looting and shooting. It had lore, emotion, and mystery. The success of the Second Dream set the tone for all future content. Now, Warframe was a game with narrative weight, world building, and an evolving identity. Rising beyond the stars. The years that followed continued to push the envelope. The war within expanded on the operator's role, allowing players to control them directly. Suddenly, you weren't just piloting a Warframe. You were becoming part of this ancient war between the Orokin, the Grineer, and the Sentients. The Sacrifice, released in 2018, brought emotional storytelling and revealed the tragic history of the Warframes themselves. Players learned that the Warframes were once humans, twisted and broken into living weapons. Digital Extremes was now mastering cinematic storytelling, blending action gameplay with deeply personal philosophical themes. And while the story deepened, the gameplay also began to change dramatically. The rise of open worlds. In late 2017, Warframe entered a new era with the release of Plains of Eidolon. This was the game's first open-world zone, something few expected from a traditionally mission-based structure. Suddenly, players were fishing, mining, building their own weapons, and exploring a living ecosystem with day-night cycles and towering Eidolon monsters. Plains of Eidolon was followed by Fortuna in 2018, an icy industrial world on Venus. It introduced hoverboards, called K-Drives, animal conservation, and the unforgettable Solaris United, a faction of cyborgs fighting against corporate slavery. Then came Heart of Deimos in 2020, a grotesque infested moon with underground tunnels, new factions, and the introduction of the Helminth system, allowing players to customize their warframes with new abilities. Each open world wasn't just a map. It was a self-contained story, a community hub, and a chance to experiment with new mechanics. Warframe was no longer just mission-based. It was becoming an interconnected universe. STEM overhauls and experimentation. With growth came ambition. Digital Extremes introduced Railjack, space combat with crew management, ship customization, and real-time space battles. Then came Necromex. Giant robotic suits players could pilot in certain areas, adding a new layer to combat. And let's not forget modular systems, Zaws, kit guns, and amps, letting players build their own weapons with custom stats and appearances. All of this made Warframe one of the most complex, customizable games out there. But complexity comes at a cost. Some players felt overwhelmed, systems overlapped, and balance became difficult. Yet, the studio remained committed to experimenting. Even when things didn't work perfectly, they never stopped pushing the boundaries of what Warframe could be. The New War and Beyond. In December 2021, Warframe released its most ambitious cinematic quest, The New War. This wasn't just a story, it was a playable space opera. For the first time, players controlled multiple characters, saw the world from enemy perspectives, and participated in a massive war that reshaped the game's universe. It marked a temporary end to the Orokin sentient storyline and set the stage for what came next, the Duviri Paradox. Released in 2023, the Duviri Paradox flipped everything upside down. It was a surreal, roguelike-inspired open world where players controlled the Drifter in a timeless loop, battling fear, isolation, and strange new enemies. Community, culture, and legacy. Warframe isn't just a game, it's a community. From Tenno, the annual convention hosted by Digital Extremes, to fan art, cosplay, and lore theory crafting, the Warframe community is one of the most passionate in gaming. It's this bond between developer and player that has allowed Warframe to survive and thrive for over a decade. Warframe's monetization has also remained player-friendly. While microtransactions exist, the entire game is playable for free. Players can trade premium currency, farm everything, and enjoy the full experience without spending a dime. In an age where live service games come and go, Warframe has endured, not because of hype, but because of heart. A new beginning. At TennoCon 2023, Digital Extremes dropped a bombshell, Warframe 1999, set in a completely different time period with brand new characters, a darker aesthetic, and a more grounded cyberpunk tone. This spin-off marks a bold departure from the Orokin-infused space opera we've known for over a decade. The future of Warframe. Digital Extremes has confirmed continued support beyond the Duviri Paradox and 1999. A new Warframe update is in development that will tie the existing universe back into newer story arcs, reintroduce long-missing characters, and explore new factions on the edge of the solar system. Additionally, the long-requested new player experience overhaul is in the works, aimed at making the game more accessible to new Tenno while keeping the depth that veterans love. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dive documentaries, Warframe lore breakdowns, and updates as the game continues to evolve.